That was a massive win, Oxford fans, and you know what? We deserved it. Hello everybody and welcome back to OUFC Fan View. It's Ian here once again and it's time for another review of another Oxford United game. Oxford were finally back at home after seeming like being on the road for ages. They were at home to Blackburn Rovers. Oxford's fortunes have improved dramatically under Gary Rowett so far, and that continued on Tuesday night with a solid 1-1 draw against Plymouth. Arguably, Oxford could have won that game, but we return at home. Probably the toughest test that we've faced yet under Rowett, with Blackburn sitting 5th in the table. Before kickoff, I felt this game was going to be a really tight affair, and that is what it proved to be. Only one goal separating the sides. And thankfully that goal went to Oxford United. When Oxford need a little bit of quality, Cameron Brannagan delivers. And what a goal it was. But this one finished Oxford United 1. Blackburn Rovers 0. So a fantastic win for Oxford United, and we'll go over everything like I usually do in these review videos. I'll give the team news, I'll give my review of the game highlighting the key incidents, and then I'll give my final thoughts for both sides at the end of the video. Please feel free to jump to the end if you do just want to hear the final thoughts. That's absolutely fine. You can use those timestamps that are down below, but I would always encourage you to watch the whole video. But either way, please hit that like button because that does help me out a lot. And why wouldn't you after an Oxford United victory? And if you do like the content, consider subscribing. So let's have a look at the team news then, starting with Oxford United. And Gary Rowett makes 2 changes from that side that drew on Tuesday night against Plymouth. We've got our new signing, who signed yesterday from Huddersfield. Mihail Helik comes straight into the firing line, playing centre-back alongside Cameron Brannagan. That is, of course, because Sam Long was forced off injured in that game against Plymouth. Siriki Dembele, who's looked pretty good coming off the bench in recent weeks, gets a start in place of Matty Phillips. Our other new signing, Tom Bradshaw, takes his place on the bench, but there's still no sign of Ollie Romani. Tyler Goodrum serves game 2 of his 3-match ban, but there is news emerging that the likes of Sunderland, Leeds and Coventry might be making a bid for his services. Let's have a look at the visitors then, and John Eustace's Rovers start the day in 5th place and are coming off the back of a fine 3-0 win over Portsmouth. Thank you very much for getting that victory over Portsmouth. It's 2 changes from that side. Mario Cozier-Dubry and Maktar Gay come in for Tyrese Dolan and Ryan Hedges. Gay really made the difference. He was a game changer in that win over Portsmouth on Wednesday. It was quite a tight game, and he came on, scored a goal pretty quickly and changed that game with his power and pace up front. But that victory on Wednesday night was an important one for the ex-Premier League champions, as that was their first win in 5 games in the Championship. So let's move on to the game then, and Oxford started this game really well. I'll say for the first 15-20 minutes, Oxford were much the better side. A good start, getting into some good areas, and it took only 7 minutes for Oxford to have their first shot on goal. Dembele won the ball back from Tronstad, got a low cross into Rodriguez. Rodriguez had his back to goal, but he was able to turn and get a shot away, but did lack any power, and it was easy for Pears to save. Just 2 minutes later, Oxford had the ball in the net, but it was unfortunately chalked off for offside. Dembele causing problems. His low shot was only half saved by Ainsley Pears, and it saw the ball kind of bouncing back towards goal. Harris rushed in to tap it in, but as he bundled it into the back of the net, he was adjudged to have been offside. Looking back on it, it was very, very, very tight and unlucky for Oxford. That easily could have been given as onside. And even from another point of view, if Harris would have just left it, the spin of the ball might have taken it into the net himself. But either way, the scores remained level. But on 16 minutes, it was another chance for Oxford. Some good football from United. Got the ball out to that left wing again, but this time it was Greg Lee who fizzed in a cross. Harris actually did really well to sort his feet out and get the shot away because it was on him in a flash. But once again, it was pretty comfortable for Pears. And whilst it was a good start for Oxford, you were kind of ruining the fact that we weren't able to get that goal on the board, because you knew Blackburn were going to come back into this one at some point. And probably on about the 20-minute mark, they started to impose themselves on this game. Helik had a really good game, but his start of his Oxford career starts with him getting a yellow card for a foul on Buckley. It gave a decent chance for Blackburn on the edge of the box with a free kick. Cantwell's effort was very ambitious because it was quite far out. You'd expect him more to kind of chip the ball in, but he went for goal and it went miles over the bar. And then Blackburn had a little period where they were on top. They certainly weathered that storm and came out the other side of it. You started to see Cantwell and Wyman getting into some pockets of space and causing some problems, and Rovers started to create some chances. Firstly, a fantastic long-range effort from Buckley. It whistled just over the bar. If it would have gone in, it would have been a goal of the season contender. Oxford quite not fortunate, but glad to see that one fly over the bar. But just a minute later, it was probably Blackburn's best chance of the game. Got the ball out down their right-hand side. It was a good cross into the box, and it was nearly swept in by Wyman. And it actually looked like it had wrong-footed Jamie Cumming, but he just about was able to correct himself and save it with his legs. But other than a few bright sparks here and there from either side, the game was largely quite cagey. Both sides, Blackburn certainly looked more composed the longer the half went on, but both sides, I would say, were defending balls into their box pretty well. Blackburn with the final opportunity right on half-time when Cantwell won a foul high on the left-hand side, the Blackburn left-hand side. It was an opportunity for them to get one final ball into the box right on the stroke of half-time, but Buckley went for goal again, and he fizzed it right in. It was a good strike again, but gratefully, it went straight into the arms of Jamie Cumming. So we got to half-time at 0-0. I don't think either side will be too disappointed. It was a great start from Oxford for the first 20 minutes, and they were unlucky to have that goal ruled out. But after that, Blackburn certainly came back into the game and looked probably the better side the longer it went on. Both sides defending well, Pears and Cumming making a couple of good saves apiece. And I just kept thinking it would be interesting to see what Rowett does, how much he's willing to risk to try and win this game. Because from Blackburn's point of view, the game plan's kind of worked, and they've been in this position many times this season where the game's quite tight and they seem to be the ones that end up finding that goal and finding that victory. But will any side find a victory in this one? Join me in the second half to find out. But really, it was an excellent second half by the Yellows. They started it on the front foot, and they were on the front foot for the large majority of it. It was actually Blackburn who had the first shot on goal after 48 minutes. Again, it was Buckley picking the ball up from some distance, chancing his arm. Again, it was a really well-hit strike, but straight down the throat of Jamie Cumming, who was able to just sort of palm it away. It was certainly too hot to handle, and Oxford scrambled the ball away. But then United missed two massive chances, and you were thinking, is it going to be the case of Oxford ruin these missed chances? On 55 minutes, Dembele getting on the end of a loose ball. He won it back, fed Brannagan on the overlap. Brannagan's cross got into Rodriguez. His shot was poor. Hellick kept it alive, got it back to Plaheta, pole to pole, if you like, but his volley was well saved by Ainsley Pears. But then Dembele, just a couple of minutes later, forced another error. I think it was again from Cozier Dewberry. He fed it into Harris in the middle of the goal. Harris had lots of time. He was able to even take a touch. You thought it was a great opportunity for Sparky to give Oxford the lead, but Pears came out and thwarted United once again. Harris really should have scored. Yeah, so it was frustration at that point from Oxford United, and 30 minutes to go in the game. Oxford were really pinning Blackburn back, but just could not find that goal. And I just kept thinking at some point Blackburn are going to have a spell in this second half. Eustace making a triple change to try to change the fortunes, but on 65 minutes, Oxford got their goal. Dembele, who'd been a live wire for United throughout the game, drove forward once again, was brought down just outside the box by Forshaw. You're standing over this one thinking it's going to be perfect for Cameron Brannagan to smash it. And smash it he does! Ainsley Pears has no chance as Brannagan smashes it into the top of the goal, past Pears, into the net. Oxford lead 1-0. It's been a long time coming for a Brannagan goal. Whew, it was worth the wait. big 20 minutes now for Oxford. This would be a big scalp if we could get it. Rowett rings the changes with Harris and Rodriguez coming off. Alex Matos coming on, and there's also a debut for Tom Bradshaw. As much as Oxford have been comfortable, Blackburn are only a mistake away from levelling this game. Blaheta did actually really well in the first instance, winning the ball back, but as he tried to play it back to Cumming, I think he forgot which way he was shooting, and he nearly played an exquisite through ball for Blackburn to run onto. Luckily for Oxford, Cumming had just about read it and got it clear. With 10 minutes to go, Phillips came on for Dembele. It looked like Dembele was injured. Hopefully it's not too bad, but we were still waiting for that sustained pressure from Blackburn. For this point in the half had just not come. And on 85 minutes, Oxford nearly made it 2-0. Matt Phillips doing really well on the edge of the box. Got it out to Blaheta on the Oxford right-hand side. Shemi tried to ghost inside, and Will Fawkes ran on and sort of took it off the toes of Blaheta. Got his shot away, nearly 2-2 for Will Fawkes, but it just deflected wide. As this game creeped forward and got nearer injury time, we did start to see Blackburn cranking up the pressure as Oxford got a little bit deep. Nearly an opening on 87 minutes. Cantwell, really for the first time in the second half, getting a little bit of space on the Rovers left. He slid a lovely ball into Rankin Costello, who had lots of space about 18 yards out. He took a touch, and that touch was just enough time for Brannagan to throw himself heroically at the shot and block it behind. There were groans, not least from me, but certainly from the Oxford fans, as 6 minutes of injury time came up on the board. And Blackburn were going for it now, and they were finally pushing Oxford back with sustained pressure, a flurry of corners, a flurry of attacks. Britain smashed the ball over the bar. And then from the very final play of the game, Blackburn worked the ball into a good area, but they just couldn't get that shot on the away. Cumming fell on the ball. Oxford got the win. A massive 3 points as Oxford continue this revival under Gary Rowett. What a victory. Let's move on to those final thoughts. And let's start with the visitors in Blackburn Rovers. And if there are any Blackburn fans watching this, I'd really be interested to know your thoughts on this game. Because I thought generally you were decent in the first half, but largely quite poor in that second half. And I think you'll be quite disappointed with your overall performance, certainly in that second half, because I thought it's a Blackburn side that faded quite badly overall and only really sort of put on, got some chances at the end of the game just when Oxford was sitting quite deep. I thought Cozy Dewberry looked okay at times. I thought he faded. In the first half, he looked all right. In the second half, he faded. And really, Blackburn did look at their best when they could get Vyman or Cantwell into some space on the ball, but they just weren't really able to do that. You didn't really get much influence from Gay in this game as well. I thought Oxford marshalled him quite well. But overall, I think Blackburn will just be disappointed with that lack of spark in that second half. And don't know whether maybe playing on Wednesday night kind of maybe, it was quite a tough game he had against Portsmouth. I know the scoreline ended up 3-0, but that was quite a tricky game. And I don't wonder whether that just kind of took it out of the players, because it did seem a little bit leggy, and I've seen Blackburn play a lot better in a lot of other games this season. Early injury to Tronstad in that game. I know he's a big player for you guys, adds a lot of energy to this team in midfield, and I wonder if that had a big impact on this Blackburn performance today. And I know you'll be kicking yourselves really after you'd have been eyeing this one up as a victory today. I think a lot of Blackburn fans would have known this would have been a tricky one, but I think you would have thought after getting that victory against Pompey, it was another good opportunity to play a side in the lower echelons of the table for you to get another good win as you carry on your playoff campaign. But it has taken another bit of a backward step, and the form's not been great overall now. So I'm just curious as to say where you feel this season's going. Did you overachieve maybe a little bit in the first part of the season? That's kind of levelling off now. Do you still think you can get into the playoffs? And what players do you need to come in to kind of strengthen to cement that playoff charge, or is there just not really that money available? I know the Venkies are a constant thorn in Blackburn Rovers' side, but let me know, Blackburn fans. Great to play sides like Blackburn again. Nice to get a very rare victory over you guys as well, but good luck for the rest of the season. Let me know your thoughts down below, and hopefully we'll play you again next season. Well, we know you might get promoted, but hopefully we'll play you again next season. So that brings me on to Oxford United straight away. Just going to say, I think that's the best performance and the best victory we've had under Gary Rowett so far. But again, what a turnaround under Rowett. 4 wins, 2 draws from the opening 6 games. That is remarkable, as Oxford steam up to 32 points now. I thought this game would be tight, and I thought this game would be cagey, and in the first half you really did see kind of both sides have their spells. I thought Oxford started the game really well, getting the ball out to Dembele and Plaheta whenever they could, but they struggled to get into the game in the second part of the first half, and Blackburn kind of really, I wouldn't say took control, but had more possession and really stifled Oxford as that first half went on. And I think what was evident to me in that first half is how Oxford really still do continue to struggle against a side that pushes up and presses high. And you saw Blackburn start to do that midway through this first half, and Oxford just really just couldn't get any momentum in the game, as they were constantly trying to play out from the back, but then realising that they couldn't, having to go long, and ultimately just giving the ball back to Blackburn. In the second half, we were a lot better at that. We really pushed Blackburn back. I'm not sure if they tired a little bit, but I thought Oxford won the fight in the second half. Really outfought Blackburn in the second half. They won so many second balls, so many 50-50s all over the pitch, and I just thought they played with a lot more confidence. But defensively, they were strong too. And I thought that they defended balls into the box like we've done for the large part this season. When we were under our best under Buckingham, we defended our box really well. And we've got back to doing that again under Rowett. Brown, faultless again. I thought an impressive debut by Hellick as well. I thought he dealt with the big, strong physical presence of Gay up front for Blackburn well, and looks a threat in the opposing penalty area too. So good debut for him. We were a bit wasteful. That was a bit annoying for me. We were quite wasteful in this game, as a number of times we did get into good areas. Either that final ball or that final pass was just a bit overhit, or couldn't work the ball across into the forwards, or when we did get the chance away, strikers just not taking their chance. Like we saw Harris again missing a good chance. People taking some wayward shots in the first half as well. But it didn't come back to haunt us this time, and we did get that goal. And what a goal it was from Brannagan. He's been a little bit quiet since coming back from injury. I think that goal's going to do him the world of good. You saw him kind of look double the player almost when he got that goal. He was back to his old self, charging round that pitch, picking up the ball, raking passes out wide. I thought he was superb. And again, another stellar performance by Will Vaulks alongside him in there. But generally don't have too many complaints about this Oxford lineup. I thought they played really well, especially in the second half. I thought we really played well against a good Blackburn side. I thought we pushed them back for large periods, and I thought overall we deserved the victory. With it only being 1-0, we were always going to sit quite deep at some point, and that pressure, we did have to weather a little bit of a storm at the end. But overall, I think we just got to be delighted with that performance. Hopefully, if we can do the same again on Tuesday night, we can get another victory against Luton. And then all of a sudden, you're looking 35 points. Wow. Oxford are flying. Not get ahead of ourselves. I think Rowett will be just as delighted with the clean sheet as he will be with the goal. And I think when you win a game 1-0, that does show you that the side's got a good mentality to see games out, not to make any mistakes and see it through. And I think there's a different vibe around Oxford now. The crowd are quite confident, quite expectant going into these games, where you just sense everybody was just feeling a bit sorry for themselves during those last few weeks of the Buckingham era. But I don't really have a lot to gripe about, really. Not really too many gripes from me. I thought, again, second half performance was very impressive. I thought we played the football in the right areas, and we looked very good. Hopefully Dembele isn't injured again. That would be a real hammer blow after we're just seeing him getting back to fitness and just seeing what he can do as well. He's starting to impact games. I know he's not scored or got any assists, but he is starting to create problems, and certainly he was fouled for that free kick which Brannagan ultimately scored. Hopefully some more new players will come in. Hopefully Longman will come in soon as well, to add a bit more quality to the wide areas too. But overall, fantastic victory. Leave your comments down below, Oxford fans. Really looking forward to hearing your comments on this one, because that for me was a great win today. And yeah, enjoy your Saturday evening. Things are looking good in the Championship for Oxford United. Long may them continue. Thanks very much for continuing to support this channel. I really do appreciate it, and I'll be back very soon.